Okay, so this is episode 42.
Is it
Katie
really?
and Ellen.
Oh,
Katie
it's
and
been
Ellen. Living out loud. I haven't even done I stopped doing the introduction like altogether. Um Living Out Loud, which is a podcast that was originally started for support for survivors and victims of domestic abuse or intimate partner violence. And that's why we originally started it. And then we kind of branched out. And I'm going back kind of like to our original
Mhm.
purpose. I read a lot of articles. Um, and and it's not that I search for domestic violence articles.
It's gonna be in your algorithm because you do your
Yeah.
research and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
But of course, they're not very hard to come
There's
by.
a lot of Munchausen's by proxy in my algorithm, but I'm not gonna
Okay.
get in. Go ahead.
Oh, you're too funny. So I came across this article. It's from the Miami Herald. It's from February of 2025.
Okay.
It is about Mary Gingles, who had separated from her husband and had filed for divorce,
Mhm.
um, because he had been controlling and, abusive. When she filed for divorce, um, he told her he was going to kill her, right? Like, he had a murder kit that had duct tape and zip
Yeah.
ties
Yeah.
and, um, that he actually kept in their garage. Like, he sounds like a real piece of work. So he does. So she files for divorce. She's got a restraining order. She's got the restraining order. He came to the house whenever he wanted to. Took the memory cards out of her security cameras. Put a tracker on her car. Um, Erected a ladder to the second story window so that
Wow.
when he felt like climbing in, he just would. So Mary, in the last year of her life, made 14 phone calls to the Broward Sheriff's Office. 14 phone calls that were he's threatened to kill me, he's trying to break into the house right now.
Mhm.
Um, he sent me this text and this email,
Yeah.
all threatening, right? 14 phone calls, some of which went unanswered.
Uh-huh.
So they said they actually had one of the times that they did, um, you know, take it seriously. They had like a 35-minute interview with her and she produced, like, this was 6 weeks before he killed her.
Okay.
They had a 35-minute interview that was very robust in terms of threat spectrum that exists, the totality of times that she made, that she made her the fear that he was going to kill her. So they had enough to arrest him that day, and they
Okay.
did not, and they didn't. So on February 16th, and an arsenal of weapons.
Mm.
He had things that were called cop silencers. That was one of the things that they were questioning, like, why did he have all these cop silencers that you can put, I guess, on the end of a gun?
Yeah.
So on February 16th, he came to her home and he shot her father, and he chased her down the street, and she ran to a neighbor's house, and he shot and killed her, and he shot and killed the neighbor.
Oh,
The
wow.
key, yeah, the key eyewitness
Yeah.
in his prosecution, the key eyewitness in his case is going to be their 4-year-old daughter.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. When does this
So,
court?
well, this happened in February 2025. I didn't get to the bottom to see when he's actually going to court. The Broward County Sheriff, his response to this was, yeah, we fell down on this one. So here's my problem, Katie. This is not the only case
Mhm.
of this. This
Mhm.
is not the only case
No, it's not. I wish this
of
didn't sound
women not
familiar.
being taken seriously.
Yep.
And I'm gonna say women, okay? Because in the article, the focus was
Yeah,
on
sure.
women.
Mhm.
And it says, versions of her name was Mary Gingles. Versions of the Gingles story tragedy occur every day in the United States. Says, this court advocate based in North Carolina who works with abused women. The criminal justice system regards most of these as nuisance cases with hysterical people making wild
Yeah.
accusations.
This is exactly what I thought it was going to say. Yep.
Domestic violence homicides should be preventable because they follow a reliable trajectory,
Yeah.
right? And she also says a restraining order is like waving a red flag in front of a bull of a
It
man.
really is. It really, well, you know that.
I do know that.
Mhm.
They don't care. Okay. Okay. So this is where I get upset. Okay.
Mhm.
I had an order of protection against my husband
Mhm.
because he placed a tracker on my car. My ex-husband, sorry, let me clarify.
Mhm.
Ex-husband. I want people to imagine, okay? I want people to imagine just for a second the day that I found out that there was a tracker on my car, and my attorney told me to take it to the mechanic and have him look. When the tracker was found, it could not be taken off because that's part of the case. So I want people to
Mm.
imagine that you are a sitting duck and that somebody knows where you are at
Yeah.
all times and is the last person you want to know
Yeah.
where you are. All right. So this woman, and restraining orders, I'm not going to laugh at them. Okay. But enforce them.
Mhm.
Like, don't just issue it and then walk away. I
I
think
know.
there should be follow up. I think
Yep.
there should be
Yep.
like it should be considered a court case. You are
Uh-huh.
you are this person is scared.
Yep.
This person is living in fear.
Yep.
You issue it. A restraining order is a piece of paper. It's not going to stop a bullet, my friends, okay? Or a knife or a fire or whatever. Um, enforce the fucking thing,
And look,
you
here's the
know?
thing. If the abuser is already dead set on killing you, they're really not concerned about violating a restraining order. They got bigger issues. So,
The restraining order to them, like this woman says, it is like raving a what? It is like daring them.
yeah.
It is like daring them.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, all
These
personalities, yes, it could because they aren't interested in authority. I mean,
No, if anything, they are anti-authority. Nobody's going to tell me what to do.
exactly.
This piece of paper isn't
Exactly.
going to tell
That's
me
why. That's why.
that's their illness. That's
Mm-hmm.
their illness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
this isn't going to keep you think you're going to tell me what to do?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they have personalities
And
like this have the
police.
audacity. These are the ones that, defend themselves in court. These are the ones that challenge judges. Yeah, so a restraining order, you're right. I mean, there's the red flag. I mean, yeah, like a
Not going to
bull.
do anything. Like I
Hmm.
said, it's like a dare.
Hmm.
So she's got this restraining order. That doesn't do anything.
Hmm.
He kills her in front of her daughter. And they have the daughter like at the scene. She was telling her she's 4, daddy stop, daddy stop, daddy stop. Not to mention her grandfather got killed in front of her. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
The failure, I'm not going to say in all cases, the failure of law enforcement to consider this part of their purview, because it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
Abuse is a crime. Uh, Murder is a crime.
Yeah, that's an easy
It,
one.
it doesn't matter if you're killing your wife,
Hmm.
okay? There was a woman I'm familiar with who was in the process of getting a divorce from her husband in the state where she lives.
Mm-hmm.
And he is sending her texts, I'm watching you, I'm having you followed, like all that stuff. And she went to the police and they dismissed it.
What are your thoughts on that, why that happens? So tell me why you think these reports are dismissed.
Because, and I'm just going to say it, there is a population of men in positions such as
Mm-hmm.
policemen
Mm-hmm.
who, oh, she's just trying to stir up trouble. Oh, they must be having an argument and she's trying to
Mm-hmm.
get back at him. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to drag his name through the mud. Oh, maybe he cheated on her, so now she's trying to make him look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he must have thrown her to the side. Maybe he's divorcing her and
Mm-hmm.
she's just bitter. Yes, I do think that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, when I went, years after my divorce was final, and this was 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And so the order of protection had been in effect for 3 years. It had expired at the end of 2020. And I'm here to tell you that once it expired, folks, the emails and texts started again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing changed. Nothing changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so in June of 2022, I got a 40-page email from my ex-husband, um, in which, among the many highlights that were in there, that he said he was declaring war on me and it was going to be nuclear. And my one friend urged me to go file a police report.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went, and I gave him that. They looked up his name in the system, gave him the history. They knew, they
Yeah.
knew already. I said, I have this email, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, he stops just short of making a physical threat. And my friend next to me was like, she was like shocked. She's like, do you know what's left after nuclear war? She's like, nothing. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, nothing's left.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, he's like, but nuclear war, he's like, come on. He's like, and I was like, all right. So I left there with a little, ticket number for my report. And then ended up having to retain an attorney to change a clause in the divorce that I could block him on my devices because he wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Sending him to me, sending him to my mom, tracking down men I had dated.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what these people do. Now,
Yeah.
a rational, reasonable person would say to themselves, if I loved somebody, truly loved them in a
Mm-hmm.
romantic relationship, the last thing you want to do is cause them harm. The
Mm-hmm.
last thing you want to do is make them scared.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
So these men, I'm not going to say men, who, if I can't have her, nobody else will, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to kill like the mother of your kids,
Yeah.
you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not love.
Mm-mm.
And the police that do not answer or do not respond and do not help, those women's blood is on their hands too,
Mm-hmm.
because they could have saved them.
Yeah.
They could have saved them. And there are some women that are so tortured by, the abuse in their homes. Um, it could just be of themselves, or it could be of them and their kids.
Yeah.
There's an article, and I can't find it, and one of my ladies in my group referenced it for me. In Billings, Montana, a woman killed all of her kids and herself to protect them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called maternal filicide,
Yep. Yep.
and it was to protect them.
Mhm.
That's how bad it was. Because she knew that they'd be damaged for life. So she thought, obviously thought, only answer is for us just not to exist anymore.
Mhm.
You know, that when you're in these, if you get in these women's heads, which is a terrifying space to be in, a person would say, well, why did she just pack up the car and like, take the kids to her parents or, like run away? You don't understand.
Mhm.
Because she in her head, she's like, he's gonna find me. There's no place I can go. Like I can't. You don't. There are women who like this Mary Gingles when she was married to this guy. She wasn't allowed to have her own car.
Mhm.
She wasn't allowed to have a bank card or a credit card.
Yeah.
She wasn't allowed to uh go out to like have coffee with other moms from the school. She wasn't allowed to do anything.
Mhm.
And a lot of people would hear that and be like, well, I would never stand for that. I would never stand for that. Well, you know what? Fear
It's a
is an
powerful
amazing
thing.
motivator,
Yeah.
friends. Like and it sounds horrible to say, like, why didn't she just do something? Why Mary Gingles tried to do something.
She did. And all that
Right.
lack of response just reinforces why try.
Why
Yeah,
some women don't go to the police
that's right. Yeah.
who are living in hell. I want there to be, like we've talked about before, domestic abuse is an epidemic in this
Mhm.
country.
Mhm.
And again, yes, let's be fair. Man against woman, woman against man, man against man, woman against woman. Okay, let's be
Mhm.
fair.
Mhm.
Why? Why?
Hmm.
Why do people treat each other like this? Why do some people out there mistake um obsession for love?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, why? Is this like childhood trauma? Is this just pure
I mean,
evil?
it's all of
It,
the
like,
above, right? I mean, it's all of it. When you step back and you kind of look at the bigger picture, why do we treat our spouses like this and stuff? You're right when you said people. Why do people treat people like this? So you can look at it in any sort of person to person dynamic, right? And then you have to break it down by the dynamic. I got got a new guy who started to come and see me, and he just got out of a 7-year marriage, and this woman was brutal, and this dude's pretty browbeaten. Um, and the dynamic here is a woman clearly with some past trauma,
okay,
which is not always the case, but often is, right?
okay,
Um, Now, it's funny because Jack and I were just talking about this. Brains are funny things. So, trauma, as your brain is developing, affects the development of your brain, right? And there's certain parts of your brain that make it difficult for you to connect with people if you have too much trauma as your brain is developing. And not dissimilar, certain brain injuries, which is hence our
okay.
serial killers, can also create the same dynamic. You're lacking empathy, the objectification, the need for power and control. So those kinds of behaviors interwoven into emotional connectivity can start to do weird things because what's one of the main things when you start to open yourself emotionally to someone, then there's vulnerability and then there's fear, right? Have I said this before? Not that I'm a big Bible thumper, but the phrase that is said the most in the Bible is fear not,
Right.
because fear is the devil. And fear will make you do things, we've talked about this many times. So when
Oh yeah.
someone has a broken brain, whether it's from it being um, malformed because of bad stuff or because you had an accident, the moment you feel threatened, you're going to go off the rails because fear takes on a whole nother component, right? So
Right.
imagine now you're afraid because you've become vulnerable And here's the dynamic I try to teach people. They don't understand. They say things to me like, all I did was love her more. All that does is make them more vulnerable, which makes them attack more, right? So people who can't manage their fear and their brains have broken pieces, which can be fixed.
Okay, well,
Um,
that's good news.
well, first step you got to take, as you and I know, especially with narcissistic personality disorders, is you have to recognize that it's broken or acknowledge that it is, which is the hardest part. But the
Which
more
is the
vulnerable
hardest
they are,
part.
even your ex-husband, Ellen, the biggest issue is you got under his skin. Nobody else got under his skin like you did, right?
Oh,
You
he
made
hates
him,
me.
uh-huh, and you made him the most vulnerable, and you gave him children, which makes him most vulnerable. So you are, the two sides of it could be the love of his life, the one he would treat with the utmost love and respect, or the flip side, which is the threat of his life and the one that he wants to take down, right? And because I know, but that's the tweaky part of vulnerability. And is it scary? Yes, but for some people, it puts them on attack mode. And that's where that possession stuff and obsession, all that comes from. Yeah.
Well, see, this is why it's so scary, right? Because this is why, yeah, I mean, like these people, like this Nathan Gingles, the wife of or the husband of Mary Gingles,
Mhm.
he would frame this all as he loved her,
I know.
right? Well, I loved her, and she didn't want to
Yeah.
be with me anymore,
Yeah.
but all I did was love her, right? Like if you were to interview my ex-husband,
Mhm.
and I've had this in emails from him, and he's said it to other people. I loved her. We had a great life together. We had a great life. People would say all the time what a great couple we were.
Mhm.
And I'm like, who are all these people?
Mhm.
Because I recall different incidents.
Mhm.
Maybe we have different memories of the same thing,
Mhm.
but and he uses that like to back his case, like, and she went and ruined it all. And she went and ruined it all. And I'm
Well, and
like,
when
you
we
not
look at,
remember?
yeah,
Like,
well, right, that's selective memory. And I see it happen with siblings. I mean, so any emotionally, so folks that are unhealthy and anybody that creates profound emotional vulnerability in them can become dangerous. They can. I've seen it happen
that's
with siblings. I've seen it happen with mothers and yeah, with parents and children. I've seen it happen with spouses. I've seen it happen with friends. What was that movie from the 90s? Single white female, remember that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Remember? Like
Yeah.
Bridget,
Where's Jennifer Jason Leigh? There is
Jennifer
just one
Jason
awesome
Lee.
actress.
She actually was in something recently where she played the
Was
mom
she?
in something.
Bring her
She
back.
was.
God damn
But
it.
that movie,
But there you go. There's another example.
no.
Yeah, there's
I
another
mean,
example.
but here's my thing. It's like, isn't it amazing? Because being human is just such a risk and you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
Do
you're
you know
right.
what I mean? Being human is such a risk. And I don't know if there's more mental health issues going on now, or if it's just that we have more access to reading about things that happened.
Mhm.
But the concept of you don't want to be with me anymore,
Mhm.
so I'm going to kill you
Mhm.
is, I mean, why are we not looking at this more? Why
Well,
are we not
yep.
looking at this more? That this is the reaction that, like, maybe we should put in place a system that when someone files for divorce against another person, that we're going to have to assume 50% of these cases, there's probably some not so safe stuff going on.
Well, here's the thing is
Like, are you in danger? Are
that
you
would be
fearing
a
for
good
your life?
questionnaire to have. Yeah, there would be. I
Yeah,
mean,
right?
there are, for every, and still the statistics, believe it or not, for every horrible, scary divorce, there's about a ton that go amicably in mediation. There really are. I mean, but we're going to hear about the ugly ones, right? We're not going to
Right.
hear about the ones that just kind of, okay, that sucked and
Fade
let's,
away. Yeah.
yeah.
That would have
Um,
been great. I would have loved that. I would have loved that.
no, you would.
Oh my God. And if I could have a nickel for every time he said to me, or not said to me because he couldn't contact me, but like, if she would just be amicable, we could be amicable. Let's be amicable. What are you talking about?
Mhm.
You want me to be amicable? You put a tracking device on my car.
Yep.
I had an order of protection against you and you violated it and it got extended and you got arrested again.
Yeah.
Amicable?
It's
Dude, you
very convenient
scare
how they
me.
just create their own reality, isn't it?
And I finally admitted I forgot. I was talking to my mom. It was a couple of months ago. And I'm moving
Hmm.
soon, September 29th. Um, and her and I were talking and she said something about him. And I said, you do know that I'm scared of him, right? I said, I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I don't tell people that. I
Hmm.
always say, oh, I could take him with one hand tied behind my back, oh, he doesn't scare me, oh, whatever. No, I'm fucking terrified of him.
Yeah.
He's not stable.
Yeah.
He's not stable. And this is how these women feel. Okay. Even though we're divorced, legally, don't think he doesn't still consider me his wife.
Yeah, and I think it's always about, well, just get the divorce over with, just get separated, get your own life, get your feet under the ground, but they're not gone.
No,
Even if you don't have children with them, they're not gone.
no, they're not.
Yeah.
And what's interesting too about some of these type people, because I have a good friend who's, she's divorced. Her ex-husband used to choke her. He broke her nose, like raped her, like they had like it was awful. He should be in jail. Okay. He's remarried, right? Like, he's remarried. Recently remarried, but but will he ever stop with my friend? Will he ever stop? No,
No.
but he's remarried, you know, and just like my ex has been in a relationship with a woman for like 6 years, but will he ever stop? No.
Mhm.
And this is what people need to like understand. And I'm not saying people need to understand because they don't get it and they're stupid. I'm saying the depth of what this does to you, right? Like my ex has me in court.
Yep. Yep.
He wants child support for our youngest, who's 18.
Hmm.
He can't go after the other two because they're 22 and 21. For people who don't know the law,
Hmm.
children may become, adults at 18 and they age out of the custody agreement you have, but
Hmm.
child support goes until 21.
Yeah. And this is his
Plastic
last
child
ditched
support.
effort to try to pull you in. It has nothing to do with your child. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my therapist said to me, she goes, this is the last thing he can do to you,
Yep.
right? She goes, this is the last legal, and she had to
Yeah.
clarify, she goes, last legal thing
Yeah.
he can do to you. I said, I know. I go, and that actually doesn't make me feel any better
I know.
because if he's trying a legal route to get to me, and make inconvenience me and make my life, whatever, when the legal routes are gone, what route do you think he's going to take?
Yeah. What does that mean then? Yeah. Yep. I know.
What route will he take then? And even though he's been, it's also funny because I think any woman who's listening to me right now, who's in a situation like this, every word that's coming out of my mouth, they're going, yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Like, even though he's been quiet for a couple of months,
Hmm.
that also doesn't make me feel any better
I know. Yep.
because then they're just planning
Hmm.
and something always comes.
Yeah.
So, how, from your point of view as a licensed professional, how do people deal with this? Like, how do you deal with it on a daily basis? Because sometimes it sneaks up on you and it smacks you in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
And that article was so triggering for me.
Yeah.
Um, and as it probably is for a lot of other people who weren't taken seriously.
Mhm.
How do we fix this?
Mm.
Or how do people cope?
I think about that in so many different ways, how do we recover from our trauma when we're still being traumatized, right? It might look different now, but you're still being traumatized. And one of the things about recovering from trauma is the number one thing is you have to get out of the traumatizing environment, right? Now you did. I mean, you're not immediately in it, but you're still being infiltrated with it, right? So
What do you tell people if they would
this
come
is
to you
gonna
like
sound, this is gonna sound, so there are, and I'll send you some of the stuff. Some of the, because this is worst case scenario, right?
okay,
Um, and shit, I wish I can think of, I gotta find it for you again. But I read this, it wasn't a full memoir, it was an article, but it was a survivor of Auschwitz, right?
okay,
And they were asked, it was like an interview, and they were asked, well, how did you survive? Right? How did you make it through? And
right,
one of the things, because there's profound trauma you're still in, but you're living it every day and there's no sign of getting out, right? So that's really what we're looking at. How do you survive an environment um, that is so horrific, but that's your environment and you can't get out? Some of the things this one woman said was, and we use them all, right? We've turned them into therapy, right?
right,
Was
right.
music, you know, music and art and um, laughing and, things like that. These very basic things, finding joy and connectivity in the darkest of places. And one of the things that does, right? So music and laughter and all of that, one of the things that does is it forces us all to be very, very present in our moment, right?
Okay.
Because the
Hmm.
reality is, Ellen, could he do something? Sure. Did he do something? Yes. Is he doing something right now? No. You can be in this moment and look at your beautiful cottage and look at your beautiful boys and look at your beautiful house that you're eventually going to move into. And
It'll happen.
it's Buddha, it's everybody else, right? And if we are truly present in our moment, we can get through anything, you know?
It's true. It's true. It's a hard practice.
It is.
You tend to become, people who have similar situations to mine, you tend to become hyper vigilant.
Of course you do.
You tend to, I remember when I got the summons for child support.
Yeah.
And I know why it came,
Hmm.
because like
Remove, yes.
he would send me he would here and there send me emails. I have them blocked, but in Gmail it still goes to your spam.
Hmm.
Um, and in my circumstance, I keep everything that comes. And he had sent me one in like February or March or April, maybe it was April. Like ripping me a new asshole about something. It's because he felt like it.
Yeah.
And I never respond. Like I never
That's the
respond.
only way you can win. Don't engage. Yep.
And what did I do that day? I was like, I am so sick of this. And I responded.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I said, you mean nothing to me. You mean nothing to me. I said, I
Hmm.
would like to mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
please make an effort. 2 weeks later, I was like, God damn it, Ellen, you
It's
shouldn't
a
opened your mouth,
pattern. It's a
you
pattern
know?
though, that there is at least you can lean into some reliability on the pattern because it doesn't change.
It doesn't change. No, it doesn't. And when I got the child support thing, the appearance, um, I got my mail and I saw it and I was like, here it is.
There
I
it
was
is.
waiting for something,
Yeah.
right? Because it had been too long,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And like you said, pattern, right? To the requisite amount of months had gone by, so I knew
Uh-huh.
something was coming,
Something was
right?
coming. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, and I've been like pretty good, like with all the shit that I'd had to deal with over the years regarding him, the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing that ever happened to me, the worst thing that ever happened to me was him. I've been pretty good about handling stuff, right? Like, because I kind of became used to it. And then when I got the child support one, I started shaking.
Yeah.
It was like this odd, like this totally weird, like nervous system response.
Yeah. The
I
PTSD.
mean,
Yeah.
I was shaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, Ellen, you've been here before,
Mhm.
right? This is not your first go around. Like, we are not going to fall apart.
Yeah.
We're not going to fall
Well,
apart.
let me ask you this, because I
Sure.
do remember you saying when you got that, some people in your life were not very supportive. Um, that they weren't really, they were doing kind of a get over it kind of thing, right?
There was a comment made well, that was shared with me via my mother,
Hmm.
um, by one of my siblings, by my oldest
Okay.
sister.
So
Why we still talking about this guy? I was
right.
like,
So tell me
because he's
this,
always
when,
doing something.
right. So someone who's endured what you have and continues to endure, the fear all the time. When you have something like that, what do you need from the people you love when you reach out and you say, "Oh my God, he's taking me to court again"? Or, what do you need? Do you think people should know, as opposed to saying, "Why are we still talking about this guy?" What do you think should be done? What do you
You know,
need from?
here's what I'm gonna say for myself and for like a lot of other people in these situations.
Mhm.
I'm sure the family and friends of these people start to get a little worn out,
Mhm.
because there's always something you have that you're going to tell them that happened, a story you're going to relate, or this happened the other day, or I got this email, and they might be getting weary. You know what? I don't care about your weariness.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't care if you're sick of talking about it. I don't care if you're sick of hearing about it. Because
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, you having that attitude about it, then you're on the same level as these men, women,
Mhm.
cops who didn't take any action.
Mhm.
You're in the same, and I'll tell you something else too. If the story was reversed and it was you who was going through this and it was you who was being victimized and traumatized and terrorized,
Mhm.
I'd be there for you all the way.
You certainly would.
All the way. And I would never be sick of it. And I would never roll my eyes. And I would never not answer your text. And I would
Mhm.
never, if you were calling me and saw your number, I would answer,
Mhm.
you know. I wouldn't be
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't have the bandwidth right now. I hate that fucking expression.
Mhm.
I'd be there. So, for the people who say things like, why are we still talking about this guy? Well, okay, I won't talk to you about it because clearly you're not in my corner.
Mhm. Mhm.
you know and you do get upset and you want to say, okay, think about that the day you find out that he shot me point blank range at my hallway.
Cancel, cancel. Mhm. Yeah.
So that's what I have to say.
Yeah.
If someone in your life is going through this,
You can't tell somebody, You should have talked to me. You should have talked to me. You got to speak up." And then at the same time say, "Oh, I can't listen to this anymore." You can't have it both ways.
and I want to say something else too,
Mhm.
because of what we are going through,
Mhm.
we actually then build more empathy for whatever you are going through. We are not
Mhm.
trying to trump your life. We're
Mm-mm.
not saying our problems are bigger than yours.
Mhm.
We're still here for you. I mean, do you think that this is what we want to be talking about?
That's a good point too.
Don't you think I'd rather be calling you to hear about the vacation you just went on, or like, or if you're going through a difficult time? Do you think we want to be having these conversations? Think
Mm-hmm.
we want this to be a topic in our lives? Yeah. You know what? I may sound like pretty pissed right now because it does piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does. And then there's sometimes these people like, oh, she brought it on herself or he brought it on himself. Don't you ever say that to anybody.
That's that's
Don't you ever?
that's
They've got
terrible.
bad taste in men. She's got bad taste in men or
Yeah, that
whatever.
one's great. Uh-huh.
It's one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Um,
Anybody can fall victim to this kind of personality because these people
sure.
study it's their craft.
Yes.
They know how to
It's
make you feel seen. They know how to get under your skin. They target people who have a desire, a deep desire to be seen because they feel relatively misunderstood. These people are predators. So anybody, I don't, the big question, how did I not see this? Everybody's vulnerable to this type of personality, especially I tell people all the time when they look back, I can't even tell you, when did you meet this person? Oh, I was having such a hard time and they came into my life and da 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 da. Yes, because that's what they do. They sweep in when you are low. And I like to hear about the people that came into your life that were drawn to you because you were in a good place. I
right.
don't care about the people that were drawn to you because you were in a bad place. And I think that that's really a good rule of thumb. If you're trying to take an assessment of people in your life, when did they swoop in and why? And if they came in to save you, I haven't necessarily ever seen that go well.
Right. And if you're at a bad spot in your, like, I remember when I did meet my ex-husband when I was 21.
Well, who's in a good
It
spot at 21? Yeah.
21, Ellen. Ellen. But I remember I was 21. It was my senior year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just made the decision. Like, I had had this on and off again relationship. Well, it wasn't even really late. It was an on and off again thing.
Okay.
Situationship, we would call it now,
Yeah, I
I
think
think.
that's what it's called. Uh-huh.
On and off situationship with this guy in college from like my sophomore year
Okay.
until like the first semester of my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knew about it. We never actually formally dated or anything like that. And I remember back then I just made the decision like, no more. Like, I can't do this anymore. This back and forth, on and off. We all know on and off relationships don't work. They're off for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. And I just made that decision.
Mm,
And he had been like a constant, right? Like I always knew what to expect with them, and he had been a constant. And I made the decision to like just, okay, Ellen, stop falling prey to this, right? Like,
mhm.
and but because he was a constant and then he was gone, that was difficult because I was missing something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I would have given my ex-husband a look
Yeah.
if I
Definitely.
wasn't at that
Mm-hmm.
place.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Like, don't look for, if you're at a spot in your life, whether it's like the ending of a romantic relationship or, you lost your job or, whatever difficulty you may be dealing with, you are at a very vulnerable place. And you shouldn't start new relationships when you're in that place. That's hard
Well,
to
I think
say though, because it gives you something.
it is hard to
Right.
recognize that, but it's and there are now, don't get me wrong, there are truly good people who come into your life to be supportive, and then all of a sudden everybody feels better, and you look at each other and you go, "Oh my God, I think I'm in love with you." Okay. But the
Oh my
minute
God. I think I'm in love with you.
well, that's another topic for now.
We haven't
But
laughed enough in this one yet.
we either cry or laugh. And
I
but
know. Oh, it's usually me crying.
but if someone comes in and swoops in when you're down, I want you to just think about power differentials. It immediately sets up a power differential.
Right.
Um and it's something to consider because now can someone truly just come and help you and then be on their way? Yes, that's an admirable person. But
That's a good person.
that's a good person. But if they come in and help you and now
They try
it's
to form a dependency,
well,
right?
there is,
Like,
and I'm trying to because this is a whole, this is you get into that codependent dynamic or power differential dynamics. It's
mhm,
still abusive. So you can get people on the flip side of codependency who are the ones that are the caretakers, right? And the fact is, those can be very abusive relationships too. I mean, that you can have someone that you can't even speak their mind without them falling into victimhood and writhing on the floor or whatever, and now you're trapped because they're suicidal or things like that, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the alpha
jeez,
dog that's the abuser. It can be the
right.
one that's collapsing too. It can go both ways. But either way, when you come into a relationship with a very skewed power differential, unless there's movement and growth and there's always it's ebbing and flowing, those are interesting things to question before you jump on board with that person. Why are you
Right.
here? You know?
And so I would like to say too, like back to your point,
Mhm.
that anyone can be vulnerable to this. Okay.
That's
So
right.
the who people in your life who might be like, I've heard enough of this, or like, oh, we're talking about this again, or what, it can happen to you too,
Mhm.
because everybody has their buttons.
Mhm.
Everybody has an Achilles heel,
Mhm.
right? So don't think, like, you know the vibe of like, I can't believe she like fell for this. Like, I would never fall for that. Like, whatever. It can happen to you too,
Yeah. Yep.
right? So,
Mhm.
like, stow the arrogance on, I never would have fallen for that. We can all fall for something.
Yes.
Okay. We can all fall for something.
Yes.
And that's what kind of fucks you up, right? Like, I don't want to go through life being like, oh, this person's interested in because, they interested in me because they want something, or they're telling me I'm attractive because they're trying to get to me. I don't want to have to go through life like that. I don't want to be
Right.
like jaded and just
But
awful
what's
about it.
interesting is you can even ask, I mean, people will tell you it'll be, Ellen, you will never be the person you were at 21, not because of the marriage, but because you'll just still not ever be that person. I mean,
Thank
you're
God.
never going to fall victim to that again. And I tell that to people all the time because they're like, oh my God, what if I do it again? You're not. You're not the same person. Honor the changes that have happened in you. You know,
Mhm.
people go through this. It's in some respect everybody does. Some people, it's much worse than others, but everybody can walk around going, oh boy, I got blinded by that. Whether it was, I mean, somebody's got something, right?
Right.
And, uh, and,
It's true.
uh, yeah. And so there's no shame in that. I was going to say something and I forgot, but there's no shame in that. But you can, as you get older and you meet people, you can literally say, I mean, just take your ego out of the way. Like, why are you hanging out with me? What? So first of all, like, Ellen, why am I
What's
hanging
so
out with
great about me?
you? Yeah, I'll be like, Ellen, I'm hanging out with you because you're funny, you're loyal, you have integrity. What you say is what you get. I don't ever have to question or wonder, if you're telling the truth. Those are wonderful reasons for me to want to spend time with you. If I were to come up and go, well, you just really look like you need a friend, or I just or I'd be like, I just really want to help you out running from the
That's
you
different.
yeah, yeah,
Because then they're doing it for themselves. They're not
you
doing it for
got
you.
it, you got it. Yeah, so you can literally just ask people and take them off guard and they'll tell you, oh, I just really love that. This goes way back. Oh, I really love being around musicians and you're so talented. And I'm like, yep, see ya. You know, yeah, you know,
Uh,
you can
well,
just
this was
ask
a
people.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's what, like, I don't know, it just like struck me. I was like, God, being human is such a risk. Like, it's such a risk.
Mhm.
And it's I don't know, I guess when you get to a certain age, you start having all these, fucking deep conversations with yourself. Like,
Well, we're
you
more
know,
reflective. As soon as you hit your
yeah.
50s, your first period of reflection in life is when you get that first frontal lobe development. So that's like 25. For guys,
Mhm.
it's a little longer. But then the next,
I
25
know.
years later, that's when you start to get that full, like more reflective. What I was thinking about? We were just talking about Achilles heels, or,
Uh-huh.
these types of personalities, they sense your weak spots right away,
Right.
right? I was thinking of my dogs yesterday, and I mean, are we more evolved than dogs at this point? I don't know, because my one male bulldog, walks right up to Willow, smells smells this something on her head, and his instinct was to lick it, to nurture it, right? And then I go and look. I'm like, what's going on? It's a weak spot, right? It's a bug
Right.
bite. And the
Oh.
dog's natural reaction was not. Now, granted, do they also eat their young? I mean, there is that too. I mean, I mean, animals will take out the sick ones, but the natural inclination mostly it's like, oh, you got a bad little weak spot there. Let me fix it. Let me kiss it, and I think there's so dogs, I mean, with the power differential, it's real easy. They even have names, alpha, beta, da, da, da,
Right.
and they're like, cool. They're like, that's
And they're
okay.
okay
I
with
don't want to
it.
be alpha anyway,
I don't want to be alpha. I don't want that responsibility. Give me
But
the
they do.
beta. Make me a gamma. Put me all the way down there. There.
I know we have so much to
Enough going
learn
on.
from them. I know
We do.
they
I'd
are.
rather be a dog right now. I mean, like, it just seems easier. It's
Just right
hard being
now.
human. It's hard and risky and scary and everything. And, one thing I'm glad about, and I hope there are people out there listening who've gone through their situations and whatever. One thing I am glad about is I have managed to retain some vulnerability.
Yeah.
I have managed to, you know, allow myself to be open to people.
Yeah.
Um, Even though it doesn't always work out.
Yeah. But he didn't take
Um,
that away from you. That would be the most horrible thing. Yeah.
I still have love in me, you
Yeah.
know. It wasn't, I still have it.
Yeah.
And I hope the other people do too.
He'll never take that. Nobody could ever take that away from you. That's part of the reason why he tried to take you down. These personalities don't take down,
The
I've
weak
always said
ones,
this to you, and it's true. They take down the shiny ones. And the shinier you are, the harder you fall. And so then the bigger savior they are, right?
right? It's true.
It's all about show. But when you get a
Yeah.
bunch of people together who have been on the flip side of those types of relationships, man, those are powerful people, you know? You
Well,
know?
it's important that the people who are in it know that there are people who have gotten out.
Yep. And that is it the end of the whole story? No, but it does get better and it does change.
Does
And
get
I
better.
certainly don't want people to think, when we were talking about earlier, that it's relentless. It is in some ways, but it's not what you're going through now. It's a different world, and you can
And you
get to
still
the other
have
side,
power,
and you
right?
still
Like,
have.
you still have power. You can take your power back.
Mhm.
You can.
I think that's one of
That's
the biggest
that's
things. Yeah.
possible. That's totally possible.
Yeah.
These people don't, they're not in charge of you.
Mhm.
They may think they are,
They really aren't.
but
And
they're
actually,
not.
the reality is it's the victims of the dynamic that have the most power, because they
Yes, it is.
they are the ones, believe it or not, that have, well, we can talk about that another time, but it is. So don't ever
Right.
forget how powerful you are. You are not weak in this relationship and this dynamic. You have all the power. You walk away and that other one crumbles and you will survive. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Hmm.
So, yeah. All right. This was a good one. Episode 42.
Episode 42.
What should we do for episode 50?
I don't have to think about it. It's real
Maybe we'll have
serious.
to do a destination one. Like,
Ooh, we could
oh,
actually
come on.
maybe do one in the same room.
I know. Well, yeah, we should do that for sure.
That'd be crazy.
If I can figure out how to, well, no, doesn't Liz have that like recording something or other?
Yeah, you don't have to have another person in you can record a video. It's okay. It'll be okay, Ellen. We'll figure it
Not
out.
tech savvy.
Just a
Okay.
video. Just a video like on your phone. We just FaceTime ourselves looking at each other.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. This was good.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.